Hello, hello, my friends. I have a fun collaboration video with you today. These are my current top winter candles. Now, the reason why I haven't put a number on exactly how many winter candles there are is because when this collaboration idea was first presented to me, we said, how about top 5? You all know there's no way I could narrow this down to just 5 candles for a season, especially because where I live, winter is a very loose term. You guys know I live in Arizona, so I don't experience winter like most of the country does. In fact, I know this weekend a lot of you guys are bearing down with some truly wintry conditions, right? I think even in areas like the South, you guys are getting hit with some snowstorms. So yeah, not us here in Arizona. I'm filming this a couple of days ahead of time, but I think we might get some rain this weekend. But even then, you guys, the highs are still going to be in the mid 60s. So winter for me means that I have cold mornings, cold evenings. Cold to me, I guess, that's relative. But the daytime highs are anywhere between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And so, therefore, what I am burning throughout this season tends to vary quite greatly. So, in my rendition of this video, I am actually going to be sharing with you guys 12 candles. Now, here's the fun thing about these. 6 of these candles are fragrances that if you wanted to just go and buy them today, you could. I'm pretty sure that all of these are currently available in some type of format for you to get your hands on. The other 6 fragrances are ones that are going to be like, hey, if you happen to have these in your stash, pull them out to burn this time of year, or keep an eye out for these to make a return at some point throughout this calendar year. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And I'm going to encourage you guys to check out my fellow creators who are also taking part in this collaboration. At the time that I am filming this, I believe that those creators are, the brainchild of this was Makenna from The Joyful Candle. She's the one who kind of reached out to a couple of us. And of course I said, yes, that sounds like a fun idea. So Makenna over at The Joyful Candle, my friend Drew over at Drew Yock, Melanie, Mr. Kong's mom. I know a lot of you guys know and love Melanie. Alexa from Sentimental Reviews. She's a little bit newer on the block, but she's been reviewing candles over on Instagram and over on her YouTube channel here for a little over a year. And then my friend Amy from Beloved Fragrance Finds. And I feel like this is going to be a really fun collaboration, you guys, because we are in different areas of the country. I know that Alexa and Amy actually lives only an hour away from me in the Phoenix area. And then Alexa lives in Florida. So we experience winter, like I said, the way that I described it. Drew is in the Pittsburgh area, I believe. And let me see, Melanie, we know that she's up near Portland, Oregon. And then Makenna lives near Denver. So, of course, she's in the Rocky Mountains there. So again, you're going to probably get some really varied opinions here about what candles we like to burn in the wintertime. But I'm just really excited to see what their picks are. And hopefully you've got some of these already in your stash and you can pull them out no matter what type of weather you are experiencing. So like I said, I got a lot of candles to talk about here. So let's just go ahead and dive right on in. I will make sure that I have timestamps listed down below. I will list all of the candles that I'm talking about, as well as if I have any affiliate discount codes to go with those. You can find that all down there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about these candles. The first one that I wanted to share with you guys was my first no-brainer. When this collaboration was offered to me, I said, oh yeah, this is the first candle that I know for sure is going to be included in this video. And it is the fragrance Cozy Cabin from KRINGLE. Cozy Cabin has fragrance notes of firewood, cedarwood, brown sugar, cinnamon bark, vanilla, and warm maple. This is one of the fragrances that, if you've heard me talk about this, I've talked about this candle at length. This is one of the first fragrances that I picked up from KRINGLE when I started purchasing from the brand. I want to say it was probably 6 or 7 years ago now. This was in my very first order and I fell in love with it. And this is a perennial candle that I have in my winter lineup. I love burning this specifically in the month of January. This is like my after the holiday scent. I like burning it again in the mornings or the evenings when we have really chilly days, or if it's a nice rainy, cloudy day. Because fun fact, you guys, I know, this is like a new thing to me. I grew up in Southern California and I live here in Arizona. Not to rub it in anybody's faces, but we get a lot of sunshine even in the winter. So the idea of just having cloudy gray days in the winter is very, very foreign to me. But yeah, this is a type of candle that I like to burn when we get the occasional storms coming through and we have cloudy days. It's just so warm and cozy. I have a dedicated review on this. I do recommend this candle specifically in the 4-wick though. I feel that I get the best performance in terms of strength and throw from the 4-wick. If you have a smaller home or apartment, or you're planning to burn it in a like smaller room, closed concept, then I think you'll be okay with the 2-wick. But I do find that the 2-wick is a little light for my open concept areas. So I would recommend the 4-wick. I don't know if the 4-wick is in stock on KRINGLE right now. The 2-wick might be. But if you have this one in your collection and you haven't brought it out yet this winter, go ahead and pull it out, because this is probably, I would say, like I said, this was my #1 fragrance that I thought of right away when I thought of this collaboration. I immediately went to my closet and I was like, yep, that's the one. We're going to pull that out for that collab. Another fragrance that I tend to like to burn this time of year is the fragrance from HOMEWORX. This is my only HOMEWORX fragrance that I'm going to suggest for this video. This is Spun Vanilla Sugar. Now, I have loved this fragrance again for many years. Spun Vanilla Sugar has fragrance notes of spun sugar, whipped cream, sugared lemon, and vanilla. Now, this one here that I'm holding is actually this is an empty vessel. I'm actually burning the second one that I have currently. I'm burning it in my daughter's bedroom. But this fragrance to me, you guys, is like, it's almost like a cotton candy, but it's not a berry. It's not a berry based cotton candy. This has more of like slight hint of lemon. Like it's mainly vanilla with a little bit of lemon in there. But the lemon is not cleaner lemon. It's not overly lemony. It's just that citrus note in there lends a little bit more sweetness to it and elevates it just a step above this being a basic vanilla fragrance. But there's something about this one, again, that I always love during this time of year. I tend to reach for like gourmands or cozy types of fragrances on those, like I said, cold winter mornings, cold winter evenings. But yeah, this one is just so good. I know a lot of people are familiar with Spun Vanilla Sugar, but this is another fragrance that I definitely recommend. This is a scent that I would love to see one of the companies that I typically buy their soy wax candles from dupe. Because I really like this fragrance, but you guys know that I'm starting to make the shift more towards burning soy wax candles. So, but this is one I just love. I don't know if I'll ever be able to part with it. Another candle that is from KRINGLE that I really, really love is the fragrance Cozy and Warm. And once again, I have it in this 4-wick format. No secret, you guys. Fragrances that I really, really love from KRINGLE, I just go ahead and purchase it in the 4-wick if I know that I can get my hands on it. So this has fragrance notes of fresh brewed coffee, foamed milk, cinnamon, vanilla, sweet cream, heliotrope, and musk. And this fragrance to me, you guys, is definitely more it's creamy coffee. It is a coffee fragrance. So if you're looking for a good coffee scent, this is it. But this is not like your acidic, freshly brewed coffee. Not even like how Bath and Body Works does it. Like, it's not even like Paris Cafe or anything like that. There is a vanilla creaminess that is definitely well balanced out in this fragrance. And I think that that's why I like it, because otherwise coffee scents to my nose are a little too acidic. They're too much for me. But this has the warmth and coziness of that, like, there's a creamer in here, but it also reminds me of a coffee house. It just, you smell it, it's nice and warm. I have been burning this in the mornings in particular because, coffee in the mornings, even though I don't drink coffee. I like the smell of it. I don't like the taste. I prefer tea over that. But yeah, Cozy and Warm, highly, highly recommend this fragrance. I know I've talked about this one a few times, and I've actually talked about this combination in particular. The other fragrance that I think is really good for this time of year, and it burns really well with this Cozy and Warm, is knit sweaters. Now, this is going to be more of your vibe if you're somebody who likes those, like, I don't even want to say like laundry scents, because I personally don't consider myself a laundry lover. I mean, I've got a family of 5. I am always doing laundry, but so like I don't love doing laundry, having to fold it and hang it all the time. But Also, when it comes to home fragrance, a lot of traditional laundry scents give me a headache or they don't hit my nose right. So like I know last year in Kringle's spring lineup, they had their what was it, like the sea salt and bergamot. People loved that one, but to me it was too like fresh and laundry like. Fragrances like that do tend to give me a headache. This one does not. Fragrance notes on knit sweaters are floral, coconut, cedarwood, sandalwood, amber, benzoin, oriental, and musk. Now this one to me, you guys, is more of I get those floral notes in there, but this is just like a cozy cashmere type of fragrance. I think that's the best way that I could put it. Um, there's something that just reminds you of like a freshly cleaned blanket with this, but it's more of like a high-end laundry that you would use on it. I feel like if you tend to like fragrances, say like coral or sea salt and tonka, like in the summertime, this is kind of like a winter cousin. I feel like this is like the winter cousin to coral. That's the way that I would put it. Very different fragrance profiles, but like in that same type of family where it's kind of luxe, high end. Um, yeah, I just, oh man, I love this one so much. And for whatever reason, I love it with that cozy and warm. It almost to me reminds me, obviously there's no lavender notes listed in here and I don't smell lavender, but it's almost like the same vibe you get from like pink lavender and espresso from Bath and Body Works, how they kind of mesh those together. So you've got kind of like a freshy type of floral herbaceous note mixed with a coffee note, and you would never think that it works, but somehow it does. That's how I feel about this knit sweaters going with cozy and warm. This is like you've got your coffee and your freshly cleaned blanket, like that combo. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, I would be lying if I said that I still, during this time of year, uh, don't prefer gourmands. Gourmands, this is like, I'm still wanting gourmands, but my gourmand tastes are shifting more from it being like apple, pumpkin, spice, sugar cookie. Now I'm wanting some fruity gourmands. And this is the time of year where I start to break out one of the goats from Kringle. Any guesses? Any guesses? Which one is it? Jelly donut. We all know jelly donut is I know that Christmas is Kringle's #1 selling fragrance. I would have to say that Jelly Donut is probably got to be up there with one of their best, not only best performing in terms of like the actual candle performance, but like best performing in terms of sales. I would actually be really curious. I should probably ask my contact about that to say like, where does this one fall? Because I know that for a long time after this initially launched, I think this was initially launched maybe in 2022. I want to say maybe that this released, there was a big like spring gourmand reserve line. I think it was 2022. But this one sold out. The hype got out. Every time this one restocked, it was, sold out. And I think they've finally gotten to a point where this one seems to be in stock quite often. It still does sell out on occasion, but I think that they've realized like they've got a winner here, and for good reason, you guys. I know that there are a few people who don't care for it, but the fragrance notes here are raspberry, blackberry, pastry, fruit, citrus, butter, and vanilla. This is one of the yeah. Oh man, you guys, this one is just so good. The raspberry and the blackberry mixed together on here. They're not artificial. They're done very, very well. You get that pastry note of a donut in here, although I would say it's not as forward as, say, some of the HOMEWORX donut fragrances or pastry notes. But this one is done so, so well. There is a reason why this fragrance is so hyped up. And I'm going to tell you guys, I know that this candle is available in a 4-wick. I get amazing performance just out of the 2-wick. So I haven't taken the dive in trying this in a 4-wick. I would imagine that would like blow it out of my house. But again, my house is only about 1,800 square feet. I could imagine if you have a larger open, even more open concept style of home, that maybe you would want the 4-wick. But in my home, the 2-wick, this is like a 9. I mean, it does so, so well. And again, it blends with a lot of other fragrances currently in my collection. But this is also, I feel like the raspberry and the blackberry, again, we're shifting from those like heavy, like spice and vegetal types of fragrances. And now we're going more towards the fruity. And that's what I tend to like. So Jelly Donut is another one that I highly recommend for this time of year. Now, like I mentioned, our weather here can be more like spring, right? For a lot of people. And so this is a candle that I have actually had in my rotation. In fact, I just talked about it in my video on Friday. This, again, is another fragrance that I've been purchasing from KRINGLE since the very beginning. In fact, let me know in the comment section if you guys would like me to do maybe like a top 10 KRINGLE fragrances of all time, because there are a few that I will tell you guys that I constantly repurchase. I make sure that I have them every season. And this is one of those fragrances. It is the fragrance Rosemary Lemon. I know I've been going on and on about this candle the last couple of videos, but for good reason, you guys. This fragrance is so good. Rosemary Lemon has fragrance notes of herbs, lemon, jasmine, lime, orchid, peach, tea, wood, and lang. Now, here's the thing with this one, you guys. This is very much a very fresh, clean lemon. This is not lemon gourmand. This is very much, if you liked the lemon that was in like Lemon Splash from their Reserve line, if you like those very crisp lemon types of fragrances, ones that I say that a lot of people can sometimes say like, it borders on being cleaner to me, then you will like this. This is, but you get that rosemary in here. The rosemary is very prevalent. It doesn't take over the fragrance. This is just so beautifully balanced. This is like I went out into my garden and cut fresh rosemary, and then I brought it into the house, and I'm chopping rosemary, and I'm also slicing fresh lemons with it. Something about this, you guys, just makes my home feel so clean. I mean, I am kind of a clean freak, so I like my home to smell clean as well. But yeah, this one is just one that like it elevates my mood. It gives a little bit of pep in my step. It just changes it up, especially again on the days where maybe if the sun comes out and you're wanting something to make it feel not so wintry where you are, get this one. I promise it's fantastic. I talked about this again in Friday's video where I said this pairs really nicely with Lemon Splash from the Reserve line. Also, if you happen to have purchased grapefruit and rosemary in the after Christmas sale when those country jars were $7.75, grapefruit and rosemary paired with rosemary and lemon is fantastic. So those are the 6 candles that are like that I love this time of year, and that I believe you can go ahead and get your hands on. If you go to the KRINGLE website or the Slatkin & Co website, you should be able to get your hands on any of those 6. But let's go ahead and turn our attention now to if you happen to have any of these in your stash. If there's one also in here that is not currently in my stash, but you better believe I'm going to get my hands on it in February, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But if you happen to have purchased Cranberry Pistachio from Caramel Sundays in the past, and this one happens to be in your collection, break it out right now. This is a great time of year to burn this. Now, I don't have the fragrance notes here, but you guys all know one of the things that not only myself, but Makenna has said this, I think Amy stands in this camp too. Caramel Sundays, there are a few notes that I feel like they do above and beyond any other brand that I've tried. And those notes are pistachio, cranberry. They also do blueberry really well. But like the first note that comes to my head that like they just seem to nail every time they do it is pistachio. And the mix of the way that they do cranberry with it, this combination, I know that they market this in the fall. I actually think that I purchased this last June when they initially did their fall restock. They do tend to launch their fall releases in the month of June. So if you're planning ahead, you know, your budget for the year or whatnot, that is typically when they will launch fall candles. And I think Sierra confirmed that a couple of weeks ago that that is the timeline that they're still planning to follow this year. But yeah, cranberry pistachio, I love this scent this time of year. I have been burning this alongside their pistachio buttercream waffles, which I bought in the December restock. Yeah, this one is just so well done. That cranberry, again, I'm reaching for something a little bit fruity, but the pistachio note is nutty and comforting and warm. And yeah, this is just, it's a really, really great fragrance. Another fragrance from Caramel Sundays, while I'm talking about them, I think I'll just cover Caramel Sundays here because, you know, their business model is obviously different than like KRINGLE or Slatkin. We all know Caramel Sundays does their monthly restocks, but these are fragrances that I'm suggesting here, you guys. The reason why they are in my suggestions is because not only do I love these fragrances, but I'm fairly confident that they are going to be returning again at some point throughout this calendar year. Now, the next fragrance, I'm going to go ahead and take this little Pyrex lid off. I know that I had talked about this in one of my review videos, and I think I talked about this in a candle chat. These are the Pyrex 7201 lids. They fit on top of these 4 wicks. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to store your 4 wicks in the boxes, you like to see what you have, order these on Amazon. There's like a pack of them for $12.99, and you can go ahead and store your candles that way. But the other fragrance that I would highly recommend if you purchase this in the December restock, this is the fragrance Winter Woods from Caramel Sundays. Winter Woods has fragrance notes of nutmeg, fir needles, baked apples, birch, clove, cinnamon, cedarwood, tonka bean, and vanilla. Now I'm going to tell you guys, I actually haven't burned this one yet. I did have a 2-wick from 2024 that I finished burning a little bit earlier in the season. And so I have truthfully been allocating some time to some other candles that I had already started burning. Now, if we happen to get more like wintry weather coming through, I could definitely see myself trying to burn this one a little bit. But this one is fantastic. And the great news about this is that this is very much, it's funny. The version I had in 2024 smelled a little bit more like baked apples and more spices with a little bit of that birch in the background. This one is more birch forward. So I don't know if that was how it was poured. I haven't lit it yet. So once I light it, it might transform back into what I remember it being upon burn with that other candle. Either way, I'm not mad about it. It's still a fantastic fragrance. But I know a lot of people were saying, hey, Caramel Sundays, can you release this in your Christmas lineup? Because for people who find Dad's Fresh Cut Fraser to be a little bit more too woody and sweet and warm, there are a lot of people who like these types of tree fragrances, which are a little bit more like cold winter air. The birch tends to be that way a little bit anyways, like it's a little bit more piney. But again, there's spices, there's a little bit of apple in there. This one is really, really good. So I would recommend burning this one, particularly again, if you are in a climate that it is still very much winter. Maybe you've got beautiful pine trees and forest all around you. This one is cozy, but also wintry. It's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. So if you have it in your collection, this is one that I would recommend for this time of year. I'll just stick with Caramel Sundays while we're at it. Another one that I would recommend right now is the Pistachio Peanut Brittle. Now, this was actually part of the December restock. Fragrance notes are candied peanuts, woody vanilla, pistachio vanilla brittle. And it's funny, you guys, this is one that I was kind of interested in. I was kind of like, okay, like, I think I would be interested in that. Here's the funny thing, you guys know this. I got this in. This happened to still be in stock when my order arrived. This one sat on the website for a couple of days, actually for maybe a week after the launch, after the December restock. This was still in a 4-wick and a 2-wick. I got this in. I smelled it. I burned it. Within 15 minutes of me burning this, I went onto the website and I ordered the 4-wick. And I know a lot of other people did the same thing. This was the surprise hit of my December restock. This is that pistachio note that we know and love, mixed with, I think what I was afraid of was that the peanut note would be like peanut butter. It's not, you guys. The peanut note in here is more, it's savory. There's a little bit of saltiness to it, but somehow it works with that beautiful pistachio note. If you tend to like nutty types of fragrances, but this also has a little bit of sweetness to it, highly, highly, highly recommend this. So like I said, I still have my 4-wick in there. I'm going to burn through this one. I burned through it a little bit, but the reason why I haven't burned it as much is because I am waiting to pair it with the fragrance that I don't have in my collection now. I very much hope to have my hands on it come mid-February when Caramel Sundays does their restock on February 8th. You all know my beloved Oatmilk and Pistachio is restocking on the February 8th restock. And you better believe I definitely am planning to purchase it in that new 5-wick vessel that they are going to be offering. That fragrance, you guys, if you are a fan of Bath & Body Works Pistachio and Toasted Vanilla, if you liked HOMEWORX had their vanilla almond creme in Christmas in July last year. They also had it was called almond flour, like the floral flour, not like the baking flour. They had that back in 2019, very much in that vein, but I would say it's even better because the pistachio note that Caramel Sundays does so well is there. It's like a creamy pistachio sweet note. It's different than the pistachio buttercream waffles. It is absolutely fantastic. I love it. It was one of my top fragrances in 2025. And I am thrilled to have the chance to have it back in my collection, because if you have that one in your stash right now, break it out, start burning it right now. Burn it with this cranberry and pistachio, or any of their other fragrances. Quite frankly, it's such a beautiful blending fragrance. But that is one that I would highly recommend getting your hands on, putting it on your wish list. I'll talk about it more when I do my Caramel Sundays restock wish list video, which, just warning you, it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a doozy. But anyways, those are the 4 candles from Caramel Sundays that I would recommend if you have them, or keep an eye out for them. And then I have 2 more candles. Another one is actually from KRINGLE, but you guys might notice from this packaging, what collection is this typically from? This would be from their Easter collection. If you guys have this one in your stash, break out Easter Brunch. So Easter Brunch, I don't have the fragrance notes here, actually. This is actually a 2024 pour. Oh, I remember. I still had this from 2024. I think I purchased a backup in 2024, so I didn't buy one in 2025. But this, along with Lemon Sugar Marshmallow, I think might be the best 2 sellers. Carrot Cake might be up there too. It's a gourmand, right? These seem to sell quite well with KRINGLE during the Easter launch. So again, I would be shocked if Easter Brunch does not make a comeback this year in the Easter collection, but who knows? KRINGLE does what they want to do over there. But I think that this has been a pretty good seller. And so I would say either keep your eye out for this when Easter launches. I am an ambassador with KRINGLE, but I haven't gotten any word. No, neither have any of the other ambassadors about when Easter will be launching. My best guess would probably say, I think Easter is the first week of April this year. My best guess would be, I'm trying to think here. My best guess would probably be, just going off of history, I think, if my memory is serving me right, their spring collection usually launches like the last week of February. So I would anticipate that Easter would probably launch maybe the first week of March, second week of March. But then I feel like they're cutting it pretty close for people to get their candles before Easter. I don't know. I would say I would anticipate late February, early March, we'll be hearing some rumblings about what's coming down the pipeline for Easter, or it will be available to us. And like I said, I would be really shocked if Easter Brunch doesn't make a comeback, because I feel like this has become a staple in their lineup. But the packaging is beautiful. But what does it smell like, right? You're going on and on about this fragrance. Okay, Easter Brunch smells like an almond croissant. It is perfect. In fact, I'm trying to remember. Melanie, have you tried this? I feel like she was going through, like, she was trying to like get her stash down. And I remember thinking, girl, you have got to get your hands on this Easter Brunch, because I know that this is a fragrance that she would love. I know a lot of people love this. This is just such a very like buttery croissant. There's a little bit of an almond note in here, but almonds sometimes with some brands can come across a little bit like cherry, or like almond extract. It comes across like a cherry note. Not so with this. It's that nutty almond type of accord. But again, it plays nicely in the background. There's a really like buttery, this just smells like freshly baked croissants. If you caught my video on Friday, I talked about the Reserve fragrance Juicy Strawberry. I love pairing KRINGLE Reserve Juicy Strawberry with Easter Brunch, or their Blueberry Milkshake fragrance, or if you have like a good blueberry scent or a strawberry scent. This one just pairs really nicely with a lot of good like fruity scents. And again, it's cozy, it's warm, but it's also starting to move away from like what I would say traditional, like traditional gourmands that I affiliate more with the fall and Christmas time or Christmas seasons. This is more like, hey, we're edging towards spring. And I love this one. Now I will say this one burns pretty, look at that soot. It burns pretty sooty. The fragrance hasn't been altered. This one does burn pretty hot for me, but not sure if the 2025 ones burned sooty. Let me know if you picked up Easter Brunch in 2025. How did it burn for you? But like I said, this was a 2024 pour, and I've still probably got another third of the wax left to go through on this one. And the final candle that I'm going to recommend is currently sold out. I have been told that this is a seasonal fragrance, and so If it does get repoured and restocked, it would probably be like around fall probably is when we'll start to see this. Now it's so funny. I was watching, I already knew how she felt about this candle, but I was watching Melanie's weekly wax chat last weekend, and she has this in the smaller version, and it's so funny because she's like, something about this, I don't like it. It smells musky, like whatever. And I'm like, I love that one. And it is the fragrance from SNIF called Winter Wander. Now I have this in the 4-wick. Like I said, I think it's sold out in all of the formats. I'm going to tell you guys, with SNIF, my experience so far has been that like this Winter Wander in the 4-wick is a powerhouse. I don't have the fragrance notes on here. It is a half-baked, it's half-baked Winter Wander. I believe that it is a collaboration with a chef named Tegan Gerard or Gerard, I think. I'm not a chef. I don't follow a lot of like cooking things. I should, but let's just add that to the list of things I should be doing in my life. Am I? No. But I love this one, you guys. This I get, it's kind of more of like a body care vanilla, I would say. There's a creaminess to it. I get a hint, like the softest hint of spice, maybe like a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon in there, but it's very, very light. But SNIF tends to like to be a little bit different with their fragrances. Like I've never smelled from SNIF like a straight up gourmand scent. I feel like their best fragrance for me that would be like the safest for a lot of people was their Old Saint Wick. I love that fragrance as like a Christmas tree type of scent. Like it's just a perfect tree scent that went well with everything else. But the rest of SNIF candles that I have tried, they all have a little bit of a conceptual element to them. They're not as conceptual as, say, KRINGLE's Halloween launches, but yeah, they don't get as out there in the weeds, but they do lend a little bit of perfuminess to them. And I think maybe that's what Melanie doesn't like. So I will say this, if you and Melanie tend to have a lot of very similar fragrance preferences, you probably won't like this one. But for me, I really, really like this. It pairs really nicely with KRINGLE's Enchanted Winter. That's what I've been burning it with from their Winter Reserve, their most recent one in December. I really like that. Yeah, there's something about this that is cozy, but it's not straight up gourmand. And I think maybe that might be why Melanie doesn't love this one as much, because she tends to love like really authentic, warm gourmand types of fragrances, where I do too, but I don't mind if there's a little bit of like a conceptual twist with them. I know a lot of people have said that about Mornings at Levain, which is funny because we all know like she loves that one, Drew loves that one. I feel like I like Mornings at Levain, but I'm not itching to repurchase it. Whereas this is a fragrance that I would repurchase. I do like this one a lot. I would say probably my favorite fragrances that I've tried from SNIF candles by ranking, Old Saint Wick, I really, really loved that. But again, in the 4-wick, I didn't have a good experience with it in the 2-wick. I will let you guys know about Sweet Ash. Not having a good experience with that one either in the 2-wick. It's dudding out on me, not burning well. This 4-wick, performing really well for me. I think I did do a post burn on this. I did. And then what's the other? Heal the Way. Heal the Way is really good. Mornings at Levain and the 2-wick performs really well for me too. But again, it's not a like I like the fragrance, but it's not one that I'm just like clamoring for more of. So yeah, but this is one. If you have it in your stash, or if you and I tend to have similar fragrance preferences, I think you would like this. Now, just be aware with SNIF, these 4-wick vessels are not returnable. The 2-wicks are, but these 4-wicks are not. So just, I would say be really sure on these fragrances that they are ones that you like before committing to the big old mamma jamma on them. So 12 candles, like I said, it was the spirit of it, right? Like there was just no way I could narrow this down to 5. You guys know how I am. I couldn't do it. But I'm really curious to see what my friends picked out here on YouTube. Really curious to just see like what their nose gravitates towards this time of year. And you guys let me know in the comment section down below. Do you have like a top 5, maybe, or maybe you're like me and like you mentioned winter candles and you know what your number 1 is. Go ahead and leave that down in the comment section. Again, if you like this video, or maybe if you are just coming across my channel for the first time, maybe you found me via one of my friends' videos. I should have introduced myself at the beginning, but hi, I'm Katie. I live in Arizona. I am 41 years old. I feel like I'm in a job interview right now. I am 41 years old. I've been married for 19 and a half years. I have 3 beautiful children, 2 boys, a girl. I am a stay-at-home mom. This channel is my hobby. I thoroughly enjoy it. I've been loving home fragrance, truthfully, since I was a child. My mom really loved home fragrance. She was one of those OG Yankee lovers. And so I love to talk about candles here on my channel. I will let you guys know that I do have a preference for soy wax. So I honestly am not going to be your girl if you're looking for all of the latest and greatest from Bath & Body Works and Goose Creek. I've mentioned that Goose Creek, I tried almost 2 years ago, something in their, it's either in their, I think it's in their oils or their wax formula, really irritates my sinuses. So I don't purchase from them. No beef with them. It's just my body, for whatever reason, doesn't like their product. And then Bath & Body Works, I've just had some negative experiences with the burn of their candles over the years. And I just have kind of made the conscious decision that I would rather spend some money on soy wax. I've just concluded that soy wax is the way for me to go. I like supporting small businesses. In fact, this week I should be having, hopefully I'll have a haul to share with you guys from a small business that my friend Amy over at Beloved Fragrance Finds has been talking about recently. So I'm really excited to get my first order in from them. And yeah, so if you feel like you want to learn more about soy wax brands, or you just feel like you're vibing with me, because the truth is, you guys, I actually still subscribe to a lot of other creators here on YouTube who love brands that I don't shop with, but I just love vibing with them. I like supporting their channels. So if you feel like you want to do that and you want to hang out with me, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Please don't forget to check out my friends' videos. I'm going to go check those out right now. But I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.